AITA for telling my boyfriend's coworker that we're not married? I've been with boyfriend for about 5 years. We live together. He does not want to get married, which I'm fine with now, but it was a point of contention early on in our relationship. Boyfriend was talking to coworker on Zoom when I brought him some coffee. Coworker said something like, "So this is the lovely wife I've heard so much about." I said something like, "Thanks, but we're not married." He said, "Oh, boyfriend always calls you his wife," and then introduced himself. I introduced myself, then ended the conversation and left as quickly I could while still being polite because both boyfriend and coworker were giving me a weird vibe. A little while later, boyfriend came out of the office and asked what was that. I didn't know what he meant, so I asked what was what. Boyfriend then said that there was absolutely no need for me to correct coworker and that it's better if people think I'm his wife. I said I'm not his wife, I'm his girlfriend, and he never told me that. He told other people that I'm his wife. This somehow becomes an argument, with my side being that boyfriend never told me that his coworkers think we're married, and boyfriend's side being that I should have figured that being called his wife indicated that coworker thought I was his wife and I shouldn't have corrected him, and when I said I thought he'd just made an assumption, boyfriend said that wasn't the point. The point was that there was no need to correct him, that it was rude, and that it'd make boyfriend look like a dickhead. He then said that the solution to this is that when he next has a video call with coworker, he wants me to come in again, strike up a conversation, and say that I was messing with him, and that boyfriend is actually husband and us not being married is an inside joke I thought coworker was in on. I then said that was the dumbest fucking plan he'd ever come up with, and no fucking way am I doing that, and he said I was being an arsehole, that I got him into this, and now I have to bail him out. That is so shady and it feels like there is a lot more going on. If you're not married he doesn't get the perks and that includes calling you his wife. I wonder if he's lying to take advantage of this discriminatory information that shows that married men make more money than single ones. When my ex would get in trouble at work for being lazy and not finishing anything, he would use me as an excuse. He would say he was behind because his wife was going through a hard time and needed a lot of support. He even claimed I had a miscarriage that I never had, that sort of thing. Of course, he never helped me through anything in his life. This is way too desperate sounding of a stunt to be an O. It was just easier to say we're married because we've been living together so long. I seriously can't believe he said you got me in this, you get me out. No, a-hole, you got yourself in this by lying in the first place. Why is he calling you his wife and he doesn't marry you? That seems kind of stupid. Having a wife is a leg up in a lot of professional contexts. It gives the impression you're dependable, settled, a family man more than if you were just casually dating around. That would be the stupidest inside joke in history. If your boyfriend, I mean husband, is adamant in calling you his wife, why doesn't he propose lol considering your long history too? That would be the stupidest inside joke in history. Exactly what I said. I can't imagine getting on the thing with coworker and being like, yeah, I jokingly act like we're not married and acting like that's just a normal thing to do. Boyfriend looked like a dickhead because boyfriend was being a dickhead. You didn't do that. If he doesn't want to be married, he should not tell people he's married. If he wants people to think he's married, he should get married, although I advise against that. At the very least, if boyfriend is going to put on such a ruse, maybe girlfriend should be in on it. A married man is usually more likely to get promotions at work than an unmarried man, so there could be a somewhat valid reason for the ruse. But without having the girlfriend's permission having her in on it, it just seems like a dick move. He doesn't want to pay for a wedding then gets mad because you're not married and you tell people that you are like WTF. It wasn't even about paying for the wedding. I've said I pay for something small as I've never been one for large parties, and if the whole principle of the wedding was an issue I'd be fine with just signing papers at a courthouse, but he says the certificate is just a piece of paper and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Here's the plan, agree to go along with the inside joke. Wait for his next video meeting. Come in all giggly. Hi guys. Sorry there was some confusion last time. BF isn't my husband because he refuses to marry me. Isn't that hilarious? Anyway, gotta go. Move out. You have every right to claim your relationship status. You shouldn't feel ashamed or need to lie about your relationship status. I don't know the culture you're in on why being married would be a benefit at work. But you don't owe him a cover-up. I don't know the culture you're in on why being married would be a benefit at work. We're just in England. Nothing about our culture means we're going to get in trouble for not being married. It sounds like by better he just meant that people don't ask him why we're not married yet. He doesn't want to get married, so you came to terms with that. Now he's mad that you won't pretend to be married. Weird dude. He's not weird. He's a manipulative who wants wife benefits while offering her none of the husband benefits. Your comment was not out of place. It also seems pretty damn bold of him to call you his wife after refusing to marry you. Also, his plan is the dumbest fucking plan I've ever heard. It's making my skin crawl just imagining being on the coworker's end of this weirdo scheme. You should find out why this is so important to your boyfriend. I know a guy who also calls his girlfriend his wife, but they are together for so long and both know that it's only a matter of time until they marry, so they don't really care at this point. But your boyfriend seems to give a lot about this discussion, and I honestly don't know what to think of that. All I've gotten out of him so far is that if people think I'm his girlfriend, they ask him when we're getting married, so he seems to think it's easier to just call me his wife to dodge those questions. This is really weird, OP. It's not normal behavior. Why is he so against marrying you but so for other people thinking you are married to the point he wants you to lie about it? Does he care more about his co-workers' feelings being hurt, or about you, and if so, why? Sounds like he got himself into this misunderstanding, and he's blaming you and wanting you to fix it for him. Is this typical behavior for him, or is this out of the norm? He says he's anti-marriage because it's just a slip of paper and ultimately means nothing to a relationship, though I think it may have something to do with his divorced parents, but he denies that their situation is relevant to ours. He says it's easier if people think he's married at work, and that it stops people asking when he's going to propose. This is really weird behavior from him. The reality is after 5 years, his coworkers will start to think he has commitment issues if he hasn't proposed, because of his inaction will negatively impact his career. He knows this. So he lied. He lied because it's easier for him to lie than tell the truth, that he does have something inside of him that he is afraid of. He doesn't have the strength to be honest. That's on him. You shouldn't lie for him in this instance, as he isn't being honest even with himself. This is super weird. Something else is going on here. He didn't want to marry you, now he wants to lie that you're his wife? Nope. Might be where he's working. There are certain corporate organizations where management might not promote an employee if they don't have a spouse. No clue why. Maybe a myth about work-home balance. Ops boyfriend might have lied for this reason. Still doesn't mean he should make it Ops' problem. I'm not going to marry you, but I am going to tell other people we're married. But I'm not going to tell you about it, so when they mention it, you'll be a deer in headlights, and if I get caught in my lie because you don't lie for me the way I want but have not instructed or prepared you to do, I'm gonna get real mad and then force you to backtrack so that I can save face, because I can't handle that I've been caught lying. He's an adult. He wove his own tangled web and got stuck in it. It's not your job to untangle him. He needs to apologize to you. And if he ever lies about you again, he needs to let you know, but you still get to choose whether or not you are part of a lie, especially when it's a lie about an issue that used to really upset you. If he wants to call you his wife, then he needs to marry you. My partner of 8 years does this to me all the time, and I feel like I occasionally need to correct him because we are not in fact married. To me, it feels slightly possessive when both partners have not agreed to presenting themselves as married without actually being married. Does he perhaps have an actual wife elsewhere? He's spent about 4 nights away from me total in the 2-3 years we've lived together, and before we moved in together we'd always be at each other's places, so I feel like I would have met a secret wife by now. The boyfriend declines the commitment of marriage to you but represents himself as married where he works. I can't think of any reason or excuse for that lie that does not reflect poorly on your boyfriend. Avoid girls interested in dating him? Employers real religious and opposed to unmarried couples cohabiting? Tax fraud? What is your boyfriend playing at? He says it stops people asking why we're not married yet,